I'm Ramsey, the loud one.
I'm Jesse, the short one.
Put us both into one, we are.
Lots of noise, always too fast, lots of laughs. Here's our podcast, the loud and short of it.
Hi, and welcome loud and short of it. I'm Ramsey, the loud one.
And I'm Jesse, the short one. And this week we've got a monthly movie review over two movies. One you just saw. We're Tenet bros.
Yeah,
we
exactly.
know all about it. We know the secret hand signs. And the other is a very similar movie.
Mm-hmm.
Just beat for beat, identical movies.
Yep.
It's the devil all the time.
You know, because I've just been brain dead for 3 weeks, I realized that this is just another theme episode of Robert Pattinson.
Oh, yeah.
He's
I
in
was
both.
thinking that the entire time we were watching The Devil all the time.
Wow. All right, let's. You want to just jump right into it?
Yeah, I got some numbers that we can pull up right here. So we're gonna start with Tenet. I think that's a better one to start on. It's good to start on an exciting note.
Yeah.
Tenet 71 from the critics.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair.
76 from the audience.
Okay.
I would have thought that would be higher.
I did not.
Really?
Yeah.
And then I'm saying 71. I'm just gonna agree with the critics on this one.
This is that's completely reasonable to me. It has across everyone's yeah. It felt like it's like a fleshlight. It feels great. It's not what it's supposed to be.
That's a good. Okay, I like it. Tenet is like a fleshlight. You heard it here first, folks.
I'll give it a real fleshlight a 95.
95.
No, I'll get it
5 points away from a real woman.
I'll give it an 85. I don't know. I have not heard an argument against this movie that didn't bore the fuck out of me.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Also, this one doesn't. We'll get more into it later. But I like this movie because the fans of this movie are not the same fans as Oh my god.
What movie?
Dreams.
Inception.
Okay. Yeah, those fans are fucking nightmares, and I know they're mad because I forgot the name of their shitty movie.
I was completely convinced this was gonna tie into Inception somehow.
Oh yeah.
I was like, yeah.
So it made $285 million worldwide so far, which is fucking terrible. But it's
wild.
COVID.
Yeah.
So there's just no way that they had a shot in hell coming into this.
That's I'm fucking terrible with numbers, but comparatively, that's gotta be amazing, dude.
Yeah, I mean, no kidding.
Fuck me.
But I think for the weekend it came out, it was the lowest collective box office weekend in over a decade or some ridiculous amount of time.
A decade? Damn. 10 years ago, movie just nobody went to the fucking theater.
And then it made $20 million opening weekend, so that's pretty dick because, and this is the crazy thing, the budget for this movie, a completely original movie, not a shitty Disney remake, not anything else, not some animated movie, $225 million.
That sounds about right.
So they made their money back.
Yeah.
But maybe not with advertising and delays and everything else, but they will eventually. They're not
I
going to
didn't even
lose.
think about fucking production issues with this movie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. I think that I don't know. That's just Nolan fucking movies. All of them cost $1 jillion, and they're all fucking super fun to look at.
Yeah.
And if you try too hard to look into it, you're gonna just sound like an idiot.
So the interesting thing with this movie, and the reason it costs so fucking much, there's literally no green screens in the entire thing.
Really?
Every single thing is practical effects. The entire fucking movie.
God damn.
And they crashed
sense.
a fucking plane.
Again.
And they ran the numbers, and they were like, can we do this with miniatures? And it was more expensive to make it look good with miniature planes to blow up. So they just, once again, bought the carcass of a plane and drove it into a building that they built. And then just filmed the scene. If a camera went out that day, they would have had to buy another fucking plane.
The funniest part about that is that scene specifically, I have no fucking clue why it happened. Oh man,
it was not necessary.
No, the entire movie wasn't necessary.
It added to the grandness of everything.
What else do we have to get through? Sorry, I'm super spacey this episode.
That's everything. That's the boring number stuff. I got some interesting facts that I found on the internet.
Ooh.
Before we get into takes, if we want to.
Yeah, let's get through the facts.
Okay,
I love facts.
So one was the practical effects, very fucking cool. The other is if you've seen the movie, or if you're never going to see the movie and you just wanted to watch us talk about it for some reason, things are happening backwards. It's not normal time travel. You just go and then you're there. You got to go through it in reverse time.
Yeah, this episode we're actually going to play the entire thing backwards for you, and you have to rewind it yourself. It's the only way to see it. Go watch it coherently.
But multiple different actors in this, while like being filmed, not like in the background, had to say their lines in reverse. So
Why?
While other people were because they couldn't splice it right.
Yeah,
it would have just been harder to do that.
That sounds miserable to do.
I know, but they did that, and the choreography. There's people like running in reverse in the backgrounds of scenes and stuff, and that's not like spliced together except when it needed to be. It's actual.
Yeah,
stunt, like people in the background were actually walking backwards with baby strollers and all kinds of weird shit the whole time.
I fucking can't wait to get this movie on demand. I'm gonna watch it 100 times just to see shit like that. Because if anything, it is one of those things where like I'm sure a bunch of fucking film bro nerds watch Inception 800 times, and we're like, this little thing fucking adds to the experience. And I'll be like, oh, this grandma's walking backwards with a stroller. This is art, baby.
This one is incredibly close to Inception.
Yeah, it's definitely his, like, I just didn't, his last movie that came out was Dunkirk, and I didn't watch it because I didn't fucking care. I didn't want to see Christopher Nolan come off of Interstellar, which is like the first cool space movie we got in the longest time.
Yeah.
And then go into fucking, I don't care about like World War I movies because we just get so many of them over and over again, and it didn't do anything special.
See, I just don't care about any more movies, so we're on agreement with Dunkirk.
Yeah.
And then my last interesting fact, which I think will just immediately lead into some great takes, Kat, which you wouldn't even know her name if you watched the movie because no one fucking cared.
I don't even know the fuck you're talking about.
That is the main woman of this movie. And apparently her role got rewritten specifically for the actress to make her more personal and realistic.
What?
And yeah, apparently. And if you've seen the movie, this is just a generic woman character that exists and says 3 lines.
Dude, Christopher Nolan, it's a meme at this point. Like, he just can't write women. I don't know why the fuck he just, like I don't, get some consultants in, but there's no excuse. Like, so many other people can write women. Like, it's not even like a little bad. It's fucking horrible. There's a giant fucking world-ending threat, and this one's like, I have to save my child.
Yeah. Which, okay, I just got to get into the reason that I took 29 points off this movie. I got an hour and a half into this bitch, and I was enthralled. Nothing was taking me out of this movie. I loved it. I was ready to leave that theater, be like 100 best movie ever.
Yeah.
And then the main character, coolest fucking dude ever, just out there to save the world, not a care in the world, talks about how he's murdered hundreds of people. He's just a badass. He has the option to save the world or save a woman he met a week ago from getting shot in the head. And he just throws the entire world away to save this chick. And the second that happened, I was like, he wouldn't do that. You set nothing up, which I understand. It's kind of a spy movie.
Wait, no, let me argue against you.
Yeah, argue.
So it's kind of a spy movie. No, see, the thing is, like, in all the old Bond movies, I feel like this has happened multiple times where he goes and saves the girl and you're like, just stop the bad guy. But the thing is, like, James Bond knows he can get that motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
He's
James
getting
Bond
the best
is also
of both
horny
worlds.
as fuck.
That's true.
That's set in stone that James Bond wants to fuck. This dude was just like a trained killer.
Yeah, bro. So we're at the best of both worlds. He's just noble. He's not even trying to get some puss, dude. He's straight up he's Denzel's son walking in this movie going, I'm the new James Bond. I'm going to save women, save the world, and Robert Pattinson's going to be my best friend. It works. It worked for me 100%.
It didn't work for me. Maybe I got to rewatch it knowing that that's what's going to happen halfway. But I was under the impression, I really thought this dude was like, it was going to be a changing moment and it was going to get darker and he was just going to be like, fuck her. I need to save everyone, not one lady.
In complete defense of your take, if you go into this movie blind, I highly recommend you don't. This is just watch it like you'd watch Spyfall or whatever the fuck it's Skyfall, like a James Bond movie. Because as soon as we were in the draft house and they started playing that shit, I was like, okay, this is gonna be different. But like leading up to the point before that, it's completely Spec Ops. It's super badass, and I just did not see it.
The
coming.
guy shows no emotion, just none. He's just like, what is the next part of the job?
His emotion is cool.
Yeah.
He's just doing neat stuff.
Yeah, and then it just goes all out the window the second a girl shared 2 words with him.
She gave him some information. He's like, I will protect you to my dying breath, and also 7 billion others.
I will let 7 billion people die to save you for one more day. Was his great thought at the end there.
I think that I don't know. That's definitely like an issue with the movie. But again, it is one of those things where I'm just like, it kind of cracks out of the same thing in like Interstellar. People talk about like, well, Brand goes, or the female astronaut goes on this stupid fucking monologue about like human love and how it's the most powerful thing, and then the end of the movie is like all about love, and everyone criticizes for that. And I'm like, yeah, 100% reasonable thing. Like, dude, do you fucking care?
Yeah,
like,
and that's exactly why I gave it the 70, because it was at 100. Then the scene where he throws away the world for some girl, I dropped it to a 0. It's like dog shit movie. I fucking hate it. Then it did more timey-wimey stuff, and I was like, okay, I'm right back in. I really want to know how the time stuff works. And then it ended, and I was like, as a spy movie, very good. Was it advertised that way?
No.
Not at all.
The best thing I can say about the pacing of this movie is that the movie makes no sense itself, but the second you start wondering if a Chris Nolan movie could be bad, it does something else cool. And you're like, oh, wait, again, boring, don't care.
Yeah.
Science is for nerds. I think that the best thing to say about this movie is like, the way they like move backwards and forwards through time is just like you haven't seen it before.
Yeah.
And so it is a very unique take on it, and I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah. Like this is something, I guess." Same thing with Inception.
It's the opposite of like, because so many movies use time travel as a cop-out, cop the entire MCU. But this one, it's not a cop-out. If anything, it fucking sucks. Like it made it harder to make the movie.
Yeah. It made it harder on people to watch it because there's like 10-minute stretches where they're talking about like how the movie's supposed to work, and I'm like, I don't care. And then the plane blows up into a bank vault, and you're like, oh wait, I don't care in a good way. But yeah, I think
I hope more movies do this. I know it's never going to happen because, my God, the amount of work it takes to figure out how to make things work in reverse and forward in a film has to be the most confusing fucking shit you could ever do. But, man, was it a cool idea.
It was one of those things where, like, I love watching something on screen and just I can't even fucking begin to explain how they did it.
Then we forgot to say this at the beginning. There are no spoilers because there's not a way. Like if you watched this episode with us, go watch the movie now.
Yeah.
If we haven't ruined anything, you're still gonna be like, this is a great movie.
Yeah. If you see me in person, put a gun to my head and say explain Tenet, I'd be like, just kill me, dude. Like I can't. It does. Honestly,
I would have enjoyed it more if right before I walked in. And I hate spoilers. I hate spoilers for everything. But if somebody had just been like, the guy's about women more than about saving the world, I'd be like, well, at least I know it's coming.
Yeah.
I can just be
That's what made me love it. And I think it if anything, I want to talk about the performances in this movie from John David Washington, son of Denzel Washington, and in this movie he sounds exactly like his dad sometimes, and it made me so fucking happy. And then Robert Pattinson as well. I feel like they weren't giving like super deep performances, but it was just like, my God, they did such a good job being cool,
which bodes very well for Batman. Because Robert Pattinson, the whole time you're like, this is the coldest motherfucker ever, but still like fun. Like he's not scary.
I think the costume design as well is just like, it's funny because you see a bunch of movies do costume design. We're like, we're gonna make everyone look unique. It's not in this. They both just look like GQ models, and they beat people up, and it's awesome.
I also like the use of red and blue throughout the movie because I'm so ape-brained that whenever they go through the time travel machine, one side's blue, one side's red, and you're like, now I know what side we're on. And then when they do like assaults using time as the weapon, like they had red team and blue team that had little flags on them, and you were like, okay, now I know who's on which team. It all makes sense to me.
Did you understand what was happening in the final op at all?
I feel like now here's what I want to say.
For
Tenet,
lost.
I feel like I understood it as much as anybody should while watching that movie.
Yeah.
Which is my exact same take on Inception. Did I understand the movie? Yeah, exactly as much as I was supposed to. Does somebody else understand it more? Yeah, because they're a fucking weird nerd that watched it too many times and don't talk about it.
I think the best thing to say is, like, I understand the objective. I don't understand how they're getting there.
Yeah.
As soon as they started layering dreams and Inception, I was like, I'm out.
I was like, do the cool thing again.
Yeah, love it. They're beating people up and floating somehow. But I think that it's also just like going into that last op was one of the coolest things ever. Because again, I was like, I don't know what's happening, and every time something like new happened, it was like, oh, plot twist, plot twist. I was like, yeah, I don't know. They're blowing buildings up backwards and forwards at the same time. And it's the first time I've seen that shit happen.
I want to know if when the nerds that liked Inception so much do scour upon this movie and watch it 8,000 times and talk about it on the internet, I want to know if they fuck stuff up, like what fucked up stuff they can figure out, or if they just nailed it. It was just perfect.
I think this movie is probably riddled with issues.
Yeah.
I don't think this movie is going to age well, but it again is going to be one of those things where it's going to be people talking about, like, because the same thing happened with Inception. A lot of people don't think Inception's actually a good movie. And again, I know I've said it 800 times. It's kind of boring now, but again, I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I also think that Tenet is just one of those movies that is so fucking big in concept that I feel like
and
I
in
just
budget.
Yeah, I don't care if this movie's good or bad. I want it to spawn cooler shit.
Yeah, I just think it's awesome to see any original movie
getting
that much money.
Yeah.
And I hope that even though it wasn't as much as anybody that worked on that movie wishes it made, but you can't judge it. They were the first movie out once movie theaters started to reopen.
I can't remember what came out this year, but I think this is my movie of the year probably.
Really?
Yeah, I was the most excited for this coming out because I was excited, I was excited for this in fucking February.
Yeah. We offered to go see a different movie, and you said no because I want it to be a good movie when I go back to theaters for the first time.
Yeah, we're gonna go see.
I do recommend this if you haven't been back out of theaters and you're willing to risk it.
Yeah. If you're in Austin, which you probably are if you're listening, Alamo's doing a good job. I can't speak to any other movie theaters because I don't go to them.
Yeah.
But Alamo's doing a decent job.
You'll be 6 feet apart from people the whole time. The only scary part is that it's inside. But
yeah, but what can you do?
Yeah.
Man, I wish drive-ins were bigger. I can't believe
there's a bunch that have opened up during COVID, like temporary ones and whatnot.
Really?
Yeah, but I've been to one drive-in, and it was honestly a pretty shitty experience.
Really? I went to one. I had a really good experience. I don't
like having to have the speaker, your own speaker, or you have to dial into the radio. It just didn't work right.
Oh, yeah, the
bitch.
sound is shit. Ooh,
Yeah.
Which, one more thing on Tenet. The sound design Tenet, as the local sound bitch, is fucking miserable.
Oh,
and it's
really?
not kind of bad. It's, like, fucking horrible. You cannot hear what's going on half the time. Yeah. I can't wait to watch this movie again solely so I can use fucking subtitles.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready to get into The Devil All the Time?
Yeah.
But we're only going to talk about it half the time in this episode.
Okay, thank God.
Yeah. It'd be very hard to get 30 minutes out
I
of
had
The
to
Devil All
write
the
that
Time.
down up there for myself because in my head I was like, yeah, okay, we're doing Tenet and The Devil Inside. The Devil
I
You
kept
Know.
saying The Devil Inside Me every time.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is it?
Okay, let's get into the boring number time.
All right.
Somebody out there likes the boring numbers.
I like it.
Okay. You're somebody then.
Thanks.
Critics, 65%.
Okay.
Audience, 81%. Which before I get into our percents, fucking amazed that audience have given this an 81%.
I thought this was going to be like tanked across the board.
Without a doubt, that's what I was expecting.
Like not even just tanked, but like 65s across the board makes.
I thought critics would love it and audiences would hate it. And audience apparently like it more than the critics.
The disparity of this is way weirder than the disparity of Tenet.
For this guy, I'm taking it 33%.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
fair.
1/3 of the movie, therefore it gets 33%.
That's a good argument, actually. I might, as someone who just does not care about his scores, I'm gonna do 33% as well. 33% of this movie fucking works.
There you go, right now. The Devil All the Time, first movie that we've agreed on.
Yeah,
exactly.
down to the
scores.
decimal, my guy.
33.33 repeating. That is my vote on this. So once again, this one's hard to judge, not just because it's COVID, but it came out in theaters and on Netflix the same day. So you can't really judge the score. It's just like Breaking Bad movie. Whatever the fuck. El Camino.
Yeah.
It made $62 million still, which is just crazy fucking impressive for something
Wow.
that people can watch for free at home.
This one was also like a limited release as well. Like
Yeah.
Tenet was a wide
It was
release as
in-
wide as you could have gotten, but this one was a limited
This
release.
was in like 10 states total.
Wow.
Yeah. Alamo being probably all 10 of those, or at least 8.
Yeah.
And then also on Netflix, which was the most watched movie for 2 days straight.
Yeah.
Again, very surprising to me. I
No.
would have thought like children's movies just always win that every time.
Yeah, well, you gotta consider that with children's movies, those are always spread out. Like there's just no.
There's not one. That's...
Yeah, kids don't move as a unit. They don't follow the zeitgeist like their parents do. And they're like, "Oh, my kid." No kids like, "Mom, I want to watch Moana." Their parents are like, "My kid will like Moana. This will distract them."
Yeah.
But this also has like, I think, 40% of the main cast are in superhero movies or were in superhero movies.
Very impressive cast.
Yeah.
For a Netflix movie, for any movie, but especially for one that wasn't in theaters or wasn't fully in theaters.
Yeah.
And the budget, I tried my absolute best to figure it out. Netflix has that shit on lock.
Oh yeah,
Could not figure out how much they spent at all.
Anything numbers wise with Netflix is a nightmare. They don't tell anyone shit.
It's very impressive. Usually I can find it. Usually there's no like official source, but you can just find it on some weird website that'll like, estimate for you, and you're like, okay. But this one, nothing.
We got it all locked down.
Yeah. I'm sure all of the budget was on the actors.
Oh
There's not much that goes on in this that would require.
It looks like exactly where it's set. There's no way they went anywhere to film this except for the.
They did have to switch apparently halfway through filming.
Really?
Yeah, apparently it was in one state and then something happened and they had to film the rest of it in Alabama.
Gross.
But you can't tell at all.
No, it looks the same.
Yeah, most of it's in a forest.
Yeah.
You know? So into the interesting facts before we get into our takes, which we've already made clear what our takes are gonna be. So the movie's based on a book.
Gross.
Blech. And the book is based on real events.
Boring.
Which, if you've seen the movie, holy fuck, that's some horrible events you never should have written down.
Yeah.
But the main one, I don't know how much of it is real events or if it's like horror movies where it's complete horseshit. But apparently the initial scene where the father just beats the fuck out of 2 hunters that were talking shit about his wife.
Yeah.
Apparently that actually happened to the author. And his dad just drove up and beat the fuck out of 2 people. And in a similar manner, so he does not describe this story as like a good emotional thing.
Yeah.
He's like, it was fucking horrific.
Yeah.
And I was never the same afterwards. And the movie doesn't really portray it as like, it makes it seem cool.
Bro, no, I think the thing was like, because we didn't know anything about this movie going in, I just knew it was like a dark movie with some famous actors, and we were watching that, and he goes and beats the shit out of these 2 hunters brutally. Very well shot.
And the first hunter he beats the shit out of both of us. We're like, yeah, that's a reasonable thing to do during that time when somebody says something about your wife. And then he just goes for the second one and hits him with a gun stock in the fucking head, which could kill you.
Yeah.
And then hits him twice more with it. And you're like, Jesus fuck.
Me and Jesse were sitting on the couch, and I just kind of look over, and I was like, at least he's not hitting his son.
And then 2 scenes later, he slapped him a couple times, but, never hit him.
Yeah, the entire time of this movie, I just kept going, oh, fuck me, dude. Like,
and speaking of that author actually living through that, the narration in this movie, which sounds like an old Western, that's the author.
Yep, I did know that.
And he also read the whole book and did a book on tape, which, my God, to have that voice... Because I would have thought that was hired out. It was just so perfect for this movie.
Yeah.
That voice describing it all.
I want to read this fucking book now. It has to be better in the movie.
Why?
It has to be better in the movie.
In this case, better might mean darker, and I don't need to read that right now. I need none of that.
I think that the narration was my favorite part because it was the first thing that kind of... Because it made it less dark.
Yeah.
I feel like it made me more interested. I was definitely just like, oh, this is a narrating story.
I like that it took me out of it. Which normally for a movie isn't bad, but when a movie is this fucking dark, I just need an all-being voice just being like, this is a story. And I'm like, thank God.
One of the characters 2 of the characters are serial killers, and he just goes, that was Carl. Carl was a sick fuck. And I was like, yeah, dead ass.
I'm glad that the almighty being of this movie agrees that this is bad.
So I hope that was actually God's voice just going, Carl's a sick fuck. Be like, okay.
Thank God. Got 2 more. Robert Pattinson's voice, which is just kind of iconic in this movie.
Yep.
It's like a high southern drawl, very weird. He refused any dialect lessons. And then during like all the run-ins before they started filming, he refused to use the voice and just used his normal voice.
Yeah.
And then just sprung them on him. And what he did was he just locked himself in a room and watched televangelists from the 1970s.
Yeah.
And just was like, I'm going to copy that drawl perfectly. And just did it.
As someone who knows people like this, who is like from the South, the deep South,
not the Texas South.
No, not the Texas South. He's perfect. He's absolutely perfect. It was
cool.
Fucking shocking.
Which once again, we just got to tug his dick a little bit more. He's gonna do so good in Batman. If he doesn't, I'm gonna be so mad.
This is my favorite Batman movie that's coming up.
I'm going to call it right now. If Batman isn't good, it has nothing to do with Robert Pattinson.
No, that's it.
He is bringing his A game to everything.
If Batman isn't good, movies just aren't good anymore. We're done. We're cashing out.
Somebody needs to be hung for it. And then the last one, which is the most horrific part of the story, even all the bad things that happen in the story.
Yeah.
The spiders in the spider scene. 100% real spiders.
Do you know what the fucking funniest thing about that is?
What?
While we were watching it in my head, I was like, those are so fucking fake. like one of them crawls off his hand. Maybe it was the one CGI one. I was like, that's fake as fuck. That looks so stupid.
No, they told the actor that did the spiders.
Yeah.
They told him they were going to use real spiders and they don't bite. And he was just like, I'm fucking down. I'll do it.
Yeah, that's
and
a man.
He went in and nobody else knew. And they
really?
put it under one of the pews in the church where he does it, and he just does it in front of all the extras in that church and just dumps real spiders.
This movie's like production is just like, how many fucking secrets can we have? The actor who played Spider Reverend, who shanks his wife in the throat, he plays Harry's cousin from Harry Potter. The little fat bastard. Yeah.
No
Same
way.
guy. Same guy.
Man, he glue up.
I disagree. He looks terrifying.
I mean...
He looks like Matt Smith, where it looks like he's wearing someone else's face.
Yeah, okay.
Scares the shit out of me.
Okay, he didn't glow up, but he fits himself better.
Yeah.
From the face down, he's killing it.
If you want to know the only thing I'm afraid of on Earth, it's Matt Smith's face.
Okay.
Man.
Are we ready to get into takes?
Yeah.
This is me a rough ride.
Let me go first.
Okay.
33% of this movie works.
Yeah.
I said it earlier, I'll say it again. There are two other parts of this movie. There is a part with Sebastian Stan. He plays the sheriff, and he has this weird like fucking storyline with like mob bosses or whatever.
It's just not tied up in any reasonable way.
Nope,
or
doesn't
addressed.
It makes sense, but it's boring. And the entirety of this movie, a third of it works, and the other 2/3 are literally just there to end the movie.
Yeah,
that's it. The other part with the serial killers.
It's 3 stories, and they all connect at the end, which in a lot of movies I like, but 2 of the stories just fucking why.
Yeah, and they weren't disconnected enough to be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think the same with the serial killers. It would have been better without the serial killers because those two things were like completely fucking outlandish. It made it goofy as fuck. But like Tom Holland's story, where he's a kid who was like born of violence and he grows up to be like hyper violent and like distrustful of God in a very Christian community and ends up just beating the shit out of people and being a vigilante. It's the lightest part of the movie, but it's the only part that fucking works. It makes sense and it's kind of cool.
Yeah. I was gonna say my 33% is the end, which is only like 20% of the movie, and man, is it just fucking impeccable.
Yeah, I guess
I loved it because this whole movie just beats you down into abject sadness. It's fucking horrid, and I thought the movie was gonna end in abject sadness, and I was going to stand up and be like, I don't understand why anyone does this. Why would they watch 2 hours of just sad? But then you get to be happy in the end. He fucking blasts all the bad people, and you're like, fuck yeah, cool. All the bad people are gone.
I just didn't like it because I fucking hate in movies, and I'm a hypocrite, and I'm sure you can get me on a ton of takes, but I fucking hate in movies when characters are just there to end the movie. They're there for one thing that happens in the movie, and they fucking 70% of the characters are there to end the movie.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. But don't get me wrong.
I
the
liked
end,
it still.
Don't get me wrong. The end is cool. Like, for what it was, like, how we got there, like, I like that's how they ended it. Because if they did end it where I thought Tom Holland was going to get fucking murdered and taken pictures of and his dick cut off.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I would have just gone to bed and been like, no, we're not.
At 4 p.m. when we finished it, we were like, well, that's the end of the day.
Let's just review El Camino again. Fuck this movie.
And then my other 13% comes from the beginning, because the beginning really pulled me in. I was very excited. I wanted to know what was gonna go on. It kind of hopped around times a couple, like to show you where the dad came from and how that led. And I was like, this is so fucking cool. I really like this. And then it just kept getting sad and sad and sadder and sadder. And I was like, no, I don't. You can't do this. I don't have the wherewithal.
Yeah,
Maybe just kind of Corona.
I don't know, man. This is just one of those movies where the entire time it is a fucking downtread, and then the happiness is a blip at the end.
Yeah, there's no arc.
No.
There's nothing to.
There was that part where he beats up those bullies, and we're like, oh hell yeah, Spider-Man.
And then 2 seconds later, the person he beat those bullies up for tries to commit suicide, decides not to, and then fucking dies anyways.
Oh,
and you're like, this is just fucking miserable.
The worst part is it's this sweet old man who's like, and then she realized she didn't want to kill herself, and then everything worked out, and the stool falls from under her, and she fucking dies. I was like, dude, I don't want to watch this fucking movie anymore.
I almost turned it off. But we knew we were close to the end, and then it worked out, I guess.
We weren't close to the end. That was like halfway through. This was the
more
longest.
We talk about it, the more I disliked it.
This is the longest 2 hours and 18 minutes of my life.
This is the second Tom Holland movie we have reviewed where the more we talk about it, the lower and lower my score gets.
Yeah, if anything, Tom Holland's never the issue. Thank God.
No, he did fine.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I really have, or I got 2 more things. One, this is like, if you are an anti-religious person, this movie just fucking hates religion.
Yeah.
Because the only character in this whole movie that doesn't pretend to follow God is Tom Holland, and he is just like the friendly neighborhood atheist. Like, he's not a dick to anybody about how they preach to God or anything else.
Yeah.
He's just like, I'm not gonna do it. I don't think it's useful, and he just fucks off.
Yeah.
He never bothers other people about it. He's just chilling.
Yeah.
But
I
even
didn't
the
even
serial
get that.
killers are like listening to gospel in their fucking car and
Well,
being like, I
yeah.
feel close to God when I murder people and all kinds of crazy shit.
For me, I think that's just more of like a sign of psychosis. Where like I actually think that made them more compelling.
Yeah.
When I was like, okay, well, because I don't know. There's like a Batman run about like Victor Zsasz. He talks about the closer you get to God is like killing someone. I'm like, dude, ew, yuck. It worked for the characters. I think that like, I wish they would have gone more down that rabbit hole with Tom Holland, where he is being an atheist. But the most things you get are like, maybe it's better the way they did it, but the most things you get are like how you just see like the trauma that came from praying with his dad. He still goes to church and shit. I don't know. I feel like it would have been cooler if he'd been like, I don't know.
I think
fuck off.
I think with all the stuff that he had gone through in his family, it just would have been unrealistic. Well, also for the time there weren't atheists. Like,
Yeah.
if you were in the 70s in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, wherever they were, you weren't atheists. You would do that, and then your family would beat the fuck out of you until you were like, no, I believe.
I like how you're saying then.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. There's just one of those things in the South where you're just like, I don't know, you let your parents assume you believe in God the exact way they do, and you're like, whatever.
Which in this movie, pretty much for every character, is a very scary way to believe in any higher being.
I just
Which it is an interesting topic piece of like, there were the serial killers that said they were close to God, and a father who strung up a dog and murdered himself and left his child was getting close to God and close to his wife, and you're like, both of these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think that, I don't know. Now I'm thinking about
Robert
it. It actually
Pattinson
makes
was
me
close to God, and he was sexually assaulting girls.
It makes me angrier the third part of the movie with the sheriff, where he just had nothing to do with religion. He was just a fucking
he just
mobster.
didn't exist.
God, what a fucking stupid movie. now I don't like this movie because I could have written it better. It could have been done so much better. Tom Holland's 33%, and I hate the serial killer shit. Can't give it to him. There were parts of it that worked, but Tom Holland's 33%. Great movie. 45 minutes. Cut it down to 45 minutes.
I'll give one nice thing to say about the serial killers. So at the beginning, they don't immediately let you know that they're murdering people. They might just be a weird like threesome thing, and then you quickly realize, okay, they're also murdering people.
Yeah.
And then for the first hour of the movie, you're like, oh, okay, they have sex with people and then murder them. Like, that's reasonable with a gun. That's what they do. How weird of them. And then you find out they're cutting dicks off and slowly killing them with knives and stuff, and you're like, oh,
Yuck.
God. Why?
There's one part in this movie where you see a mangled dick, and it's not fun.
Yeah. Like it just flashes. You don't. It's not really that gross, but just knowing
No,
that's
dude,
what happened.
it was there, and we like because you can't see it at first, it's not the center of the shot, and then we both just went, "Oh, turn this smut off."
If I had seen this in a movie theater, I would have left. I wouldn't have been able to get through it.
Yeah,
Just
maybe
being with other people, and like, it's the only thing that made the sadness bearable was that every once in a while, you and me would just look at each other and be like, Are you watching the same movie? Like, what the fuck?
At one point, I got mangoes out, which is just my favorite snack, and I was so hungry. And then this poor lady kills herself. And I look at the mangoes, I look at Jesse, and I was like, "Do you have any clue what the fuck is going on?" He's like, "No."
So in general, I highly recommend this.
Unironically, I think you should watch this movie. This is a bad movie that I think, fuck it. There's some good stuff, and I think it's because it is an experience. I'm glad we watched it. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Yikes.
There's no way you watch this movie and you come away with a neutral take. I'll leave it at that. And I like a movie that makes me hate it.
If you can talk about it afterwards, you definitely will be able to talk about it afterwards.
Maybe a couple hours after the cry you've had, but then eventually you'll want to talk about it.
Oh my god. I did put the Grey's Anatomy blue lights on in my room and just laid down there. Just fucking like, oh my god, are you there? Man, yeah, fuck movies this month. Except
But
Tenet.
we got to see one in theaters again. This is the first monthly movie review in God knows how long.
Yep.
So
Movie of the year.
we're excited to be back, baby.
Yep. What do we got next week?
Next week we have another From the Ground Up.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, you want to tell them what it's about?
Yeah, it's about you don't get to know yet. But we know for sure.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans and we'll drop the info.
Yes.
All right, y'all. Thank you for listening.